Okay, so a good friend of mine and subscriber to the channel that she's kind of been in the shadows, the good shadows, not the dark and demented shadows like the Cloak and Daggers. She's been in the good shadows. Her name is Barbie. That's all I'll say, is we call her Barbie because that is her name. She's from South Africa. Anyway, she's a subscriber and a good friend. And Brother Palmer knows her. I know her. Other folks know her. Anyway, she said, hey, Tim Ballard's wife is going on, what is the name of that radio station you guys have there? KNRS radio station. Is that in Salt Lake? I don't know, but it's in Utah, right? KNRS. Anyway, I'm in California. I couldn't listen to it. I couldn't find anything where I could listen to it live. It probably is. I know they have podcasts and stuff, but I don't get into iTunes and Spotify and stuff like that, which I should, because I'm going to be getting a website again. I know I tried that a few years ago, and some of you did it with me, and I had a newsletter and everything, but we're going to go back to that. Not the newsletter. But anyway, so Barbie said, well, let me play it on a boom. She goes, I got an old boom box. You can tell our age, right? We did it the old school way, the way we used to record our cassettes off the stereo. Before everything was networked, children, we had a tape recorder that you would push, what was it? Play and record, right? The two buttons. And then you would lean it up against a speaker, and you would call the DJ, and only during times that the DJ was taking requests. So you'd have to call the DJ and request a song and hope that he played it. And then you could record it. Or you just listen to the radio for a couple hours, your favorite radio station, and wait for your favorite song to come on, or songs, and then hit record and do it that way. But you know what I liked about those days? Is you had a little bit more privacy. Well, at least we think we did. I don't know. Okay. So those were the days. And I believe that we could still have those days. In the millennium, we're not going to have surveillance. I don't think so. I think we will be surveillance free. I do not believe, how much you want to bet that during the millennium, there will be no CCTV. We can have the same kind of technology we have today without all the interconnectedness and networking of all sorts. All right. So she played the boombox on her phone, and then I put it on to my phone. I played it on through the Bluetooth speaker from this microphone into this microphone. And that's what we have. So I tried to tweak it as much as I possibly could with Audacity. And here we go. I'm going to stay out of it, let you listen to the raw data, because I'm winded today. And let's just see where this goes. Maybe I'll speak up a few times if it's just really bad, and maybe I can understand it. But the message from Sister Ballard is pretty much what we've been thinking. They know it's Cloak and Dagger stuff, her and Tim, and it's been hard. Her testimony is still strong, and they know everything's going to be okay. But just listen.
One article at Vice News. Vice News has a 3-minute video in which allegations, inappropriate allegations of inappropriateness on the part of Tim with women from the organization, Operation Underground Railroad, that had agreed to go with him on some missions to rescue some children, and there may have been some inappropriate behavior taking place. And again, Tim came out and said, none of this is true. People are just trying to get at me. And that was his explanation. And of course, we had this week continued discussion about this. No two allegations are coming out. Tim is currently, or he was as of a couple of days ago, from what we understand, in Boston, giving one of his freedom tours. And he issued yet another statement denying this all over again. And then on Wednesday, to give you a little background, I got a call from people who work with the Ballards, and said, Catherine would like to come on the show and talk to you today about what is going on. And I said, we would love to have her on the show. I like to get, what we try and do on this show, and I think what most people are looking for is the truth. And that's what we're, hopefully we'll be able to start to Catherine and give you a little bit better idea as to what exactly is going on with this story, because there are people on both sides of it. People are, can't believe it. I know a lot of your listeners out there who have dealings with Tim, interacting with Tim, and I have in the past. I think once or twice I was asked to MC an event where Tim was the keynote speaker. He has a very, very compelling story to tell and everything that he's gone through and what's going on in this world. And he's fighting to stop it, doing whatever he can to stop the trafficking of children in this world. Now, again, how much of this, and you have to wonder about this as well, is a result of the success of the movie Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom is basically Tim's story. Originally working for the government, decided to set up his own organization and go after these people who traffic children. And it has become, without a doubt, a surprise hit for the summer. And, beating even movies like Mission Impossible and Indiana Jones here in this country. And I understand someone told me the other day, it is a very, very popular movie in Central and Latin America, where Tim worked primarily in an effort to cut down and to, smoke out the people who were responsible for this. They're creeps, they're thugs. And he was trying to do the best he can. And of course, that movie, tremendous success. I don't know if you've seen it. I have. It is a powerful movie, a tough movie to watch, primarily because it's dealing with a subject that is just, an average human being could not, how do you fathom anything like this happening? But it is. And it is going on. And it is one of the, it's part of the underbelly of society today that nobody wants to talk about. But children are being affected and children are being destroyed. And Tim Ballard's story, and he worked very hard. This film was what's been made for 5 years. They were waiting to find someone who would pick it up and find them. Angel Studios here in Utah, and a few others stepped in and said, let's get this in the theaters. And they did. And again, it is a very, very powerful story to tell. I think the subject matter was treated very, very well because you know what's going on. You don't have to see a Hollywood show you, but you don't need to see it. You just know what's going on. And that's why this story is very, very important. So we're going to have a chance. I think here's Katherine now. Katherine, come on in and have a seat right there if you would. I think you want to go to a break early, right? Okay, we'll take a break. Allow Katherine to catch her breath a little bit, maybe have a drink of water, and then we'll talk with Katherine Ballard coming up next, right here on the Ron Arquette Show and Utah's Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS. Time now for a news update. Ron is running on Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS. It certainly has been, quite an understatement, a unbelievable week for Tim and Katherine Ballard and their family. Of course, everything that transpired last Friday and what's been going on all this week. Tim has been out doing one of his freedom tours back in the Boston and Washington, D.C. area. I got a call the other day asking from the people who work with the family if Katherine could come on my show and kind of give us her take on what's going on and how this is impacting your family. And she's joining us right now in studio with the Ron Arquette Show. Katherine, how are you? Thank you for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for letting me come on. And this is new for me. People that know me know that I'm not exactly in my comfort zone here. But I felt that I needed to stand out in support of him and my family and just people someday to hold on to as we navigate this very difficult time.
Well, yeah, the obvious question would be, of course, how are you doing? And then how is Tim doing?
We are trying to be strong. I don't know. I can't say we're doing great. We're not doing terrible. There are moments.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been sleeping super great, but we're holding strong.
You have a large family. 10 children?
9.
9 children. How are they doing? And what do they, how have you talked to them? I mean, they have to hear the news. Friends are saying, hey, what's going on with your dad? They have to hear the news. How do you talk to them and how do they handle this?
Well, first I want to say thank you to everyone that has been so kind. We haven't gotten to the part where anyone has harassed me or my children. And they've been going to school every day, and anyone that approaches us has just offered comfort, support, just saying, we're so sorry for what your parents are going through. If you need anything, I've had countless friends reaching out to me, texting me, coming over, offering how important. So first, I just want to say thank you to everyone out there that has been so kind and compassionate and has been so nice to us. As far as how are the kids processing the news? Well, different ones know different things.
Depending on their age.
Depending on their age and what they're exposed to. And so the older they are, the more in tune they are with what's going on. And they're just so kind of looking to me because I'm here and Tim's not home and they're looking to me saying, Mom, is everything okay? And I'm saying, I'm going to be fine.
The older children, those are probably the toughest discussions to have. Is it not, Katherine? With the older children who probably understand a lot more than they have their brothers and sisters.
Definitely. We've had a lot of deep conversations.
I saw a clip with Tim, my guess is probably 5 or 6 years ago, where he said, concerned that people were coming after him, where things were happening in his life, and he was struggling with dealing with that. With all this is going on, how long do you think this has been going on?
Well, for some reason, when you decided to go against sex trafficking, people come out to attack you on that. We didn't think that would be such a divisive venture, but it has been. And I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to claim that it's all orchestrated and some one big person is behind it all. It's been a battle.
Mm-hmm.
As we've tried to stay the course on this mission, it's been a battle.
We've had Tim on the show before. I've heard him speak before. It's an ugly, ugly business that he is involved in. How do you deal with that? And then he ever sat down and talked to you about all of it and what it takes to do what he has to do?
Well, when he was an agent, at first he would tell me more details about what was going on, what was involved. And then he realized pretty quickly that was not helpful for me. That women started to be a journalistic person, but when the process seems differently than him. He learned, okay, we don't need details. We just say a child is being hurt. I'm going to go rescue it. This level dangerous. I'm not naive. I know that it's a dark world, and he has had to play the role of very dark people to bring about these rescues. And frankly, that has taken a toll on him. And you ask me how Tim's doing, and he's the hill. He's been sacrificing his life, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, time-wise. He's given everything to the rescue of children, and it has been really tough on him. He just heal.
One of the issues that I've had with all of this, since, news broke about this last Friday and more details have come out, what frustrates me more than anything is the process. And you have allegations with no evidence, but the allegation, in this country, we believe you're innocent until proven guilty. But in this case, and there are other cases like this as well, that you're guilty until you have to prove you're innocent. Does that bother you the way this whole process, Catherine?
Well, yeah. We were blindsided by this. I just talked about how there's always attacks, but this was very unexpected, very abrupt and vicious the way it was done. It was very hard as the wife and mother of a big family to have my family run so unkindly into the public spotlight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You mentioned a moment ago that Tim realized early on there was a certain amount of information that he would share with you, and that you didn't need it. You felt like you didn't need any more. Did you feel at any time, and I really want to know what's going on, to sit down and talk to him about what you're having to go through, because he went into a very dangerous situation, I would imagine.
Yeah. I felt like I knew he would say enough. He would say little pieces. I knew what was going on. I know what it takes. I know what it takes to be undercover in the dark world. I'm not confused about what that means. He's going to have to say some bad words. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to say some disgusting things. He's going to have to pretend to look at some disgusting things. That's actually really hard for people that love him and see his spiritual side. That's really hard for them to process, especially in the Utah LDS culture type of, strong religious values that I love and that I cherish, that them love and cherishes. It's hard to reconcile that this man who is so great and loves God, now he's going to put on a different hat. He's going to go into really, really disgusting places. He's going to play the persona of a trafficker. And that is how he convinces that guy, oh, we can trust this guy. Okay, bring out the kids. And that is how rescues happen. It's ugly. It's terrible. And I haven't been naive to the fact that means Tim has to say and do things that I never want to hear him say. Mm-hmm. And some of the documentaries that have come out where it shows little clips of him saying, I have to plug my ears. I know you do that, but I don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. Because I want you to this pretty little unblended picture over here, but I'm not naive to the fact that he's had to do a lot of that.
And how much did he struggle with that person? I mean, because he is a man of deep faith. I know Tim enough to know that his faith is very, very strong, but he has to do things to help these children that he wouldn't normally want to do. I mean, how did he reconcile that and be able to make that all work for himself and for you and your family?
Well, there were times when he was less successful at that, and times when he was more successful at that, and it really had to do with how well he was coming home and taking time to decompress and focus on, let's write another book, or let's go on a speaking tour about goodness. And when he was able to balance that really well, then things were going better. Mm-hmm. But as everything escalated and the attacks, and then at the same time the exposure, the opportunities that the government's reaching and saying, we need you to come do this, you need to do this. And how do you say no to that? How do you say, I actually need to take a break? And as a wife, I'm looking at it going, I want you to take a break. I want you to be here and you need to heal. But then he really is, he's a hero. Mm-hmm. He can't see that, he can't know that kids are over there being victimized, and he can't he can't put himself first, which is really what he needed to do. He needed to put himself first and say, I'm not the right person for this right now, guys. But he just couldn't do that. And he was like, well, I need to go. And I support him. And I love him so much. And I support him. But it has taken its toll.
Our guest is Katherine Ballard. Katherine, can you stay for a little bit? I need to take a break and then come back with more questions for you.
Sure.
All right, more coming up here on the Ron Arquette Show and Utah's Talk Radio 105.9 ANRS. In the studio right now is Katherine Ballard. Katherine, of course, her husband Tim Ballard and everything that has transpired, the events that have gone on in the last few weeks. Tim, of course, the movie Sound of Freedom, which I did see, Katherine, good for you. I imagine you did as well. Marvelous movie. I thought they treated the subject matter, which is very, very tough to treat, very, very well. And I thought Jim Caviezel did a great job in portraying your husband. So it was a marvelous movie. But of course, this week, with everything that has gone on, you wanted to come on and talk about what has transpired. The statement from the LDS Church, I know that's a difficult subject for you to talk about, but it seemed really unusual and rare that the church would make a statement like that. How close a relationship, in fact, did Tim have with President Ballard? They had talked about this. He was supportive of what Tim was trying to do.
Yeah, Elder Ballard has been amazing. He actually reached out to us before we even moved to Utah because of a book that Tim had written. And actually, a funny story. Tim walks into the office. He gets a call from Elder Ballard, the Elder Ballard, and he said, I want to my office. We freaked out. We're thinking, what did you write? We're going back and thinking, what happened? Are we in so much trouble? And Tim was so scared that he actually brought his dad with him. We're from California. He brings his dad up with him to meet with Elder Ballard. And Elder Ballard actually thought that Tim's dad was the author. And then my father-in-law said, this is Tim Ballard. Yeah. That started the relationship, and Elder Ballard has been so wonderful, so supportive, acting as unofficial counsel. Just, he would get, if Tim didn't schedule an appointment every month, he would call him and say, why don't you come in? And we just treasured that relationship. It was such a gift. Especially when really hard decisions were being made, like when we started this office. Do we continue on in this cause? What is this all about? What do I need to be doing? And Elder Ballard is just a really loving grandfatherly way, acted as an unofficial counselor.
Did they drift apart at all? Did the relationship, does it remain strong today? How would you describe it today?
Well, I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to offend or be a stumbling block for anyone. Tim and Elder Ballard are very close. They, every time we meet with him, Elder Ballard expresses his love for Tim. Elder Ballard is, and he has a lot of health problems, and so he's not as around and available as he used to be. And we just love and support him, and our prayers go out to him. The day that it became apparent that he was struggling and getting older, and that he wouldn't always be there for Tim, and kind because the thought of trying to keep doing this without this loving and counseling him was, if he knew that there's, he's mortal, and there was going to be an end to this counsel, unofficial counsel, and that's been hard.
We got a sense that there was concern that Tim was inappropriately using Elder Ballard's name and to promote Operation Underground Railroad or his business dealings.
Never.
When you heard that, what was your response? And what is your response now?
People are going to say whatever they want. That's the time that we live in. You can say whatever you want. And my response is, never did that. He never did that. was so careful about that relationship. And Elder Ballard was very careful about the relationship because you always told him, I don't want to hurt your organization by bringing the church into it. And I don't want the organization to hurt the church, vice versa, by being too open about this. But so they were both very careful. Of course, the LDS world is small. So people hear that Tim meets with him. Mm-hmm. But we were always very careful to just say he just wanted to give us a blessing, talk about how things are going.
Mm-hmm. The allegations about the women that, were you aware that women were going with Tim on these missions?
I am very aware of the couples route. I know. Is that any worse?
It may be. Explain it.
When you go undercover, if you are a single male walking into a strip club or that kind of environment, there are lots of women around that expect certain behavior by a single male. And he never wanted to engage in anything like that. And so he developed what he called the couples route. I want to be careful. How young is your listening audience?
If you're in the car with your child right now, you may want to turn it down for a second. But go ahead and explain what it means by that.
So he developed a couples route. They did training on this. They never did this without training first. The idea is if Tim walks in with a female who's posing as his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, then they can pretend to be in the party scene, but when an adult woman or sometimes even a younger child is pressed upon them, she can swat him away, her away, and say, no, that's for me, this is my man, no touchy right now. And it was just to play the role of we're setting up something that this is so awful, but it's an undercover world. We're setting up something that we both enjoy, but it's not right now, and this is my man. It was used to protect the men from having to engage in anything that would be compromising. With all these women and children are trafficking victims. Mm-hmm. And that was so the couples ruse is to protect that.
Okay. The women would know that this was going to be taking place, correct? Who were working with Tim on these missions. They knew this ahead of time.
There was always training.
Always training. Could they have seen this differently than maybe what Tim had seen and saying, hey, this may have gone too far?
Definitely. I can't speak to what they individually would perceive. I would never want to do it. I could never do what Tim does. I could never do what these women do. I would never want to do that. And I can't speak to their, I only met a couple of them actually, but I can't speak to what they would think or what they would expect. I'm grateful for the men and women that are willing to go into these dark places and rescue children. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. It's dark. Katherine, did the women who were involved in this, were they employees of Operation Underground Railroad? And did they volunteer to do this because, like Tim, they wanted to save these children?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, and maybe since I don't know the exact answer, maybe I'm not qualified to speak to this. I think it was a mix as far as who was employee and who was contract. Mm-hmm. And they knew what they were doing because there was training. I came one day at the end of one of the trainings when they were talking about how to pull this. Yeah. And not everybody made it through training. There were a couple times when Tim was propositioned during a training, like, hey, here's my hotel card. And someone called his assistant and say, it's it's a very confusing dark world, you know, and I don't know how they do it. I'm grateful that all these children, thousands of children have been saved, thousands of perpetrators have been arrested. The method and the means is possible.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll have just a few minutes on the other side. Can you stay for one more break?
Sure.
All right. More coming up here on the Ron Arquette Show, Utah Talk Radio, 105.9 KNRS. So now for a news update. Katherine Ballard, of course, Tim Ballard's wife, allegations against her husband. You've been very forthright and expressing your feelings and what you think is going on here, Katherine, and I do appreciate that. Where do you go from here? I mean, what happens now, Katherine? I mean, like I said, these are all allegations. No one has come forward with any solid evidence that, yes, this in fact took place. Knowing that, where do you go from here?
Well, like I've been saying, this has taken a toll on Tim. These attacks, especially coming from the way things were released and done, really hurt Tim a lot. And actually, we are really looking forward to visiting sometime. It's been going so hard with the movie, with everything, just trying to meet everyone's demands of him. And we're really excited for this next season in life where we get to come together as a family, help him heal from all this he's given his life to rescue children. And I think that it's time to say, it's kind of a good thing. His face is too well known, and it forced him to say, yeah, I can't go to all these dangerous for my operators, for the children, dangerous for everyone.
No.
This is a little blessing that
All of a sudden it went really low.
Sometimes the family does.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I don't know how he can continue in his current role, knowing his face is all over and everything being talked about it.
Now it's up again.
Yeah.
He said, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, he is completely done with operations. What he wants to do is work in an advisory role. He has set up so many great relationships with other governments, with presidents of other governments and other nations to help them work on their problems, get the right resources that they need, act as a consultant to help them find the organizations that would be best suited to help their specific needs.
Katherine, I've got just a few seconds, but first of all, thank you for coming in. Thank you for talking to us today. Good luck to you and your family. Please tell Tim hello for us. We've had Tim on the show before. He's always fun guest. Our hard guy to hold down. You do it very, very well.
Can I just take a second
Sure.
to
About 10, 15
express,
seconds, please.
I just want to express to everyone, I have absolute faith in God. I love the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm so grateful for the atonement of my Savior that promises true healing. And I just wanted to share that and tell everybody to keep the faith and